Hello. My name is Ainita Pearl Adesanya, and I am your university chaplain. I invite you to stand and join me for an invocation. Holy One, great source and lover of all, these graduates are known to you. They have cried out your name when they have seen the price of their textbooks. They have asked for your mercy when they have pondered their workload. They have given you thanks when they have overcome trials. Gracious One, these graduates are known to you. They honor reason and thought. They seek order and justice. They value life and liberty. They appreciate sound judgment. Surely you have heard their cries, for here they are today, older, and we trust much, much wiser. Ready now to be entrusted with interpreting and developing and caring for that framework that holds us together somehow. Holy Parent, you know these graduates, their professors, their families. Be present and rejoice with them as we celebrate their accomplishments, give thanks for their devotion to the law, and offer hopes for their future and the good that they will do in the world. Amen. Amen. And so it is. Ashe.
Be seated. Good morning. My name is Brian Galini. I'm lucky enough to be the dean here at the College of Law. In class of 22, we made it. I'm beyond thrilled to be with all of you. Members of the Board of Trustees, President Thorsett, Provost Long, faculty, staff, students, friends, parents, family members, distinguished guests, and most importantly, all of you, the class of 22, welcome to the 136th commencement ceremony of the Willamette University College of Law. Before we begin with our official program, please join me in our land acknowledgement out of respect for those whose relationship to the land precedes ours, and to collectively engage in fundamental measures that advance justice for the indigenous peoples of the region past, present, and future. We are gathered on the land of the Kalapuya, who today are represented by the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde and the Confederated Tribes of the Siletz Indians, whose relationship to this land continues to this day. We offer gratitude for the land itself, for those who have stewarded it for generations, and for those who have given us permission to study, learn, work, and be in community on this land. We acknowledge that our university's history, like many others, is fundamentally tied to the first colonial developments in the Willamette Valley. And finally, we respectfully acknowledge and honor past, present, and future Indigenous students of Willamette. Now, in my second order of business, I have the honor of introducing the platform party. And as I make introductions, each member of the platform party will please stand and be recognized individually. Today, we are joined by President Stephen Thorsett, Provost and Senior Vice President Carol Long, Vice President for Student Affairs Lisa Landreman, our commencement keynote speaker, Oregon Court of Appeals Judge Darlene Ortega, Willamette University Chaplain Reverend Ainita P. Adesanya, and members of our Board of Trustees, beginning with Charlotte Carpenter. Liz Large. Patrick J. Waite. And Kevin Smith. I'm also proud to introduce you to the members of the Law School Administrative Team, Associate Dean and Professor of Law, Jeffrey Dobbins. Associate Dean and Professor of Law, David Friedman. And Associate Dean, Melody McAlpine. I'd like to introduce you to our faculty, beginning with Roderick and Carol Wendt Chair in Business Law and Dean Emeritus Curtis Bridgman. Assistant Professor of Legal Research and Writing, Cheryl Buskey. Distinguished Professor from Practice, Susan Cook. Professor of Law, Keith Cunningham Parmenter. Visiting Assistant Professor of Law, Itai Feigenbaum. Associate Professor of Law, Andrew Gilden. Distinguished Professor from Practice, Bruce Howell. The Honorable Mary James. Visiting Assistant Professor of Law, Robin Merrill. Assistant Professor of Clinical Education, Sarah Matsumoto. Professor of Legal Research and Writing and Director of Academic Skills and Bar Success, Amy B. Myers. The Thomas B. Stoll Professor of Law and Director of International Law Programs, James A. R. Nafziger. Professor of Law and Director of the Certificate Program in Sustainability, Susan L. Smith. And the Alex L. Parks Distinguished Professor of Law and Dean Emeritus, Simeon C. Simeonides. Let me please introduce our student-elected graduation announcers, Assistant Professor of Legal Research and Writing, Kelly Gamble. Distinguished Jurist in Residence, Justice Jack Landau. And our student-elected hooders, Assistant Professor of Law and Co-Director of the Business Lawyering Institute, Aaron Simowitz. And Professor of Law and University Counsel, Yvonne A. Tamayo. Finally, let me recognize our pianist, Honey Wilson. I'd like to take just a moment to thank each of them for joining me to celebrate this special day with you and to their many contributions to the College of Law community. No one does significant things alone, and we all owe an extraordinary debt of gratitude to them alongside our full faculty and staff community. And speaking of thanks, I want to take a moment to thank and recognize those in the audience who've sacrificed and strived along with our graduates to help them get to this day. As we've often heard, it takes a village. And I want to recognize the impact that you've made on the success of our students as they become the next generation of problem-solving lawyers and leaders. So, to the much beloved and much appreciated parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, spouses, and partners, children and grandchildren, siblings, friends, professors, alumni, and attorney mentors in the audience today, allow me, on behalf of our graduates, to share their deep gratitude and heartfelt appreciation for all that you do and have done to support them throughout their law school journey. And a special note in honor of those loved ones who we've lost during the past few years, including our own Professor Ed Harry, and those who are not able to share in this joyful moment, but whose presence and support are held in the hearts of our graduates. I hope your memories of them are a blessing. Now then, class of 22, first and foremost, congratulations. Today we celebrate your achievements under circumstances that I'm confident not one of you predicted or imagined when you joined our community 3 years ago. We are extremely proud of the considerable work that you did to get to this special day, despite the many twists and turns it took to get here. Now, today is called Commencement Day, and for good reason. It's the end of your formal legal education here at Willamette, but it's also the beginning for you. And before we send you into this next and new, exciting chapter, I thought you'd appreciate hearing just a little of what I've seen in this class during their time with us. First, I've seen thriving. You all entered law school with a certain set of expectations about what the experience would look like and entail. There's a rumor running around that it was a little bit different from that. After all, you went from in-person classes and socializing with fellow 1Ls to navigating a challenging academic program over Zoom, sometimes even with a child in your lap. Some of you also needed to take on caretaker responsibilities or had moments away to focus on loved ones who became ill, all while trying to learn when it felt like so many once-in-a-lifetime things simultaneously arose, from the pandemic to historic wildfires, a 40-year ice storm, and a long simmering and overdue reckoning for racial justice and equity. Now, it would have been easier in those moments to have succumbed to the many surrounding disruptions and just be focused on pandemic hardships. And we all had those moments, and I know that I did. But for every moment we were invited to focus on a particular challenge, we learned that competing moments exist that welcome us to focus on hope, creativity, and imagining what's possible, no matter the circumstance. The pandemic taught us many lessons, one of which, no doubt, is that we all give power to what we focus on. And in order to get to this day, you had to choose to believe that completing law school amid competing crises was not just possible, but genuinely achievable. And let me hasten to add, you had to make that decision on a daily basis. Those repeated choices to believe and hope and creativity and imagining what's possible has led us here, to this stage, and to the privilege of celebrating all of you. Your ability to make that mental choice and reframe challenging circumstances will no doubt serve you well in the years ahead. Second, I've seen you develop unexpected skills, typically only learned in practice. No matter what comes next for each of you, I hope you'll look back on all that you've done and see the instances where challenges and obstacles were turned into opportunities and accomplishments. Think about it. Think of all the unexpected skills you have in your toolbox. You've developed in-person and online presentation skills, moderating communication style and presence to best serve whatever professional situation might arrive. You've interacted with professors, mentors, supervising attorneys, and other professionals, sometimes even clients, in virtual spaces while learning how to adapt and apply our ethics and professional values all to those circumstances. You've done all that and made the transition back and forth to in-person classes. That will help you carry the standard for where our profession can and should be headed as we navigate challenges around access to justice, indigent criminal defense, and really the overarching challenge to strengthen the rule of law in a manner sustainably focused on justice and equity. Finally, I've seen you finish. You finished your degree program during mixed competing seasons of change, of adversity, of promises of a better, more equitable legal profession. And at every stage you received a number of invitations to quit. And at each of those stages you declined, again and again. And by doing so, you've opened up a door. You've opened a door for you to make change. It doesn't matter what went wrong or what happened along the way to get here, there's a power to finishing. So, class of 22, you can thrive, you have a unique skill set, and you can finish. Now it's time to do something with it. Now is the time for you to reflect on, to integrate, and to own that getting to this day was difficult, but ultimately beneficial. You have the opportunity to carry the challenges from the past few years forward, to implement your skills, your adaptability, and the ways that you work with and for those around you in a manner that betters our profession and those whom we serve. And make no mistake, society needs you. The pandemic changed the way lawyers work and serve clients and society, maybe even permanently. It also didn't affect everyone equally. But your ability to empathize with clients who come to you during some of the most difficult times in their lives will make you a better lawyer. Your ability to understand the struggles of your colleagues and peers and be supportive will make you a better lawyer. And your ability to reflect on all of these experiences, including your failures, to find opportunities for improvement will make you a better lawyer. You are exactly what I mean when I say that we provide the environment the tools, and the experiential opportunities to make problem-solving lawyers and leaders. In other words, you are Willamette lawyers. So when the challenges of practice come calling, and they will, I expect that you will find or already have the answers. Maybe you won't have them instantly, and maybe they won't look flashy, but they'll add up. Your efforts will begin to take shape within the background of life in a series of incremental decisions that, when taken collectively, will add up to real and substantial change. After all, it was that series of decisions that got us here. Turns out, little by little, a little becomes a lot. So hurry up and cross this stage, class of 22, because the world is anxiously waiting for you and your contributions. You came here to make a difference. I expect you to go make it. And with that, and before we proceed with the keynote speaker, I'd like to take just a moment for a special recognition of our member of the College of Law faculty, Professor Robin Morris Collin. And for this portion of the program, I'd like to invite to the podium Mr. Kevin Smith, Willamette alum and class of 79 and chairman of Willamette University's Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Dean Galini. Good morning. On behalf of the university's Board of Trustees, I offer my warm congratulations to all the graduates and their families. It's my distinct honor to recognize Norma J. Paul's Professor of Law, Robin Morris Collin. Robin is an admired professor who has been with the College of Law faculty since 2003. She spent 10 years teaching at the University of Oregon School of Law and nearly 20 at Willamette. A leader and scholar in the area of sustainability, energy, and environmental justice, Robin was one of the first law professors to teach sustainability courses in the U.S. Law School. While at the University of Oregon, she co-founded the Conference Against Environmental Racism and the Sustainable Business Symposium. At Willamette Law, she served as director of the certificate program in sustainability. In 2014, she was awarded the Jerry E. Hudson Award for Excellence in Teaching, an institutional-wide honor from Willamette University given to educators from each college who demonstrate excellence in teaching and distinguished leadership. Robin has been active in a number of causes, including as co-convener of the Oregon Electric Vehicle Collaborative and as a commissioner on the Oregon Commission for Women. She was a founding member of Portland's Environmental Justice Action Group and of the Sustainable Future section of the Oregon State Bar. Robin had a long list of accomplishments, including the David Brower Lifetime Achievement Award from the Public Interest Environmental Law Conference and the Oregon Woman of Achievement Award. She received the Leadership and Sustainability Award from the Oregon State Bar, the Campus Compact Faculty Award for Civic Engagement and Sustainability, and the EPA Environmental Justice Award for her work with the Oregon Environmental Justice Task Force. Her work has helped increase engagement between low-income and minority communities and state policymakers on environmental policy. Professor Morris Collin is embodiment of the teacher-scholar, and her 20 years of service at Willamette and its students deserve the highest praise. She is the embodiment of Willamette's motto, "Not unto ourselves alone are we born." And her achievements as a teacher and member of the faculty are commendable. Although she could not be with us here today, I am pleased to confer upon her, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, the title of Professor of Law Emeritus. Thank you.
It is now my true honor to present this year's commencement speaker, the Honorable Darlene Ortega, who has served as a judge on the Oregon Court of Appeals since 2003 and is the first woman of color and the only Latina to serve as an appellate judge in Oregon. Before becoming a judge, she practiced law for 14 years, focusing her practice on all types of civil litigation at the trial and appellate levels. In her time on the bench, she's distinguished herself as a court leader on issues of juvenile dependency and on efforts to address the structural inequities that affect operation of the legal system. Judge Ortega teaches access to justice at the College of Law and is a frequent speaker on topics related to equity, diversity and inclusion, privilege, and equipping women and people of color to succeed in the law. She spends hours each week with law students and new lawyers, especially those from marginalized communities, helping them to make sense of the legal world. Her continuing engagement with issues affecting marginalized communities includes involvement with middle school and high school students in Portland, service on the board of the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, where she chairs the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee, co-founding One George Fox, an alumni organization that advocates for LGBTQ students at George Fox University, and past service on the board of the Northwest Health Foundation, where she chaired the Equity Committee. Judge Ortega serves as a resource to all 3 Oregon law schools on issues of equity, diversity, and inclusion. She also serves on the board of the Meyer Memorial Trust and is a co-chair of Owls Inn, Oregon Women Lawyers Intersectionality Network. And let me hasten to add my thanks on a personal note to Judge Ortega for being such a wonderful friend both to me and to the College of Law. Behind the scenes, Judge Ortega and I have gotten to know one another through her willingness to, for example, support the College of Law's efforts to move with intention toward injecting equity into the entirety of our law school, from admission to the college to admission to the bar. Judge Ortega, it is just our genuine thrill to have you with us. Please join me in welcoming Judge Ortega as this year's commencement speaker.
It is such a joy to be with you today and to celebrate this important occasion with you. I'd like to spend a few moments reflecting, though, on the gift of not fitting in. Now, that may seem a strange choice of topic for this occasion. Graduations are all about triumphal achievements. You made it. You're in the club. You've earned a place at the table. And now you're ready to launch what will surely be an illustrious career. Some part of us always, at some level, wants to find the place where we fit, where the combination of our talents and gifts are received and experienced as being exactly what is needed. When you arrived at law school, you likely hoped that you would find a peer group of like-minded people and that your skill set would turn out to be very well matched to the demands of your legal education. I hope and expect that to a fair degree you found those things and that you're leaving law school feeling like you belong. I hope also that you'll find that your skill is very well matched to the demands of the bar exam and your first legal job, and that you will quickly find work that calls forth the best of you. I want all of that for you. But it's important to acknowledge that that hopeful scenario is regularly not what the very best people experience. I know that already in law school, many of you have encountered circumstances in which you did not fit. Perhaps you agonized over processing so much complex verbal information on the spot. Maybe you needed more time to think about it than you got when you were cold called in class or when you were taking an exam. Or maybe you had family obligations that greatly exceeded those of most of your classmates, or your reasons for coming to law school or your expectations for how to talk about legal problems were not echoed among your peers or affirmed by your professors. Perhaps you secretly died a little inside whenever a professor called your name in class, because talking about law didn't feel like it came naturally to you. Or perhaps you were convinced that it took you 3 times as long to read the material as it did your classmates. Perhaps the way discussions materialized in class frequently frustrated you, and the answers that the law offers to the social problems it encounters left you dissatisfied. Perhaps you were paralyzed with fear before each exam or court experience. Perhaps you never quite lost the sense of being the creature from another planet. That's okay. In fact, it's better than okay. My suggestion to you this morning is that the extent to which you don't fit in is actually a gift. Let me explain. Our longing to fit in is understandable. but it omits a few things from the larger picture. What attracted many of you to law in the first place was a sense of dissatisfaction with the way things are. You were troubled by the injustices that you perceived, and you wanted to acquire the skills for fighting those injustices. You were bothered by a sense that people were getting left behind without anyone to fight for them, and you wanted to fill those gaps. Your passion to right wrongs like that is a big clue that our institutions are not already perfect the way they are. There are gaps they leave unaddressed. Our systems do not always ask the right questions, nor do they always provide access to meaningful justice. As good as our legal system is, it could stand to improve. That may well be what attracted you to the law in the first place, a desire to improve it or to find a way to better marshal its resources. Yet those are the very institutions you want to fit into. These are the institutions that you hope will want what you have to offer. How realistic is that? I can use my own experience as an example of a possible disconnect you might encounter. I went to law school out of a desire to save the world, to be a voice for the voiceless. And I wasn't inclined to readily buy into the way things are. When I entered the legal profession, it should not have surprised me that in my first jobs, I quickly perceived things that didn't work well, that needed fixing. And usually I wasn't wrong, but my instincts about what to do about it were off. With the best of intentions, I would helpfully point out these problems to the people in charge, expecting them to say, "Thank you so much. Thank you, Darlene, for pointing out to us how wrong we have been all along. Finally, you are here to point out the error of our ways. Hooray! You fit perfectly into this spot that we had for you to show us the error of our ways." But of course, that never happened. It's easier for me to see this now than it was at the time. At the time, I just felt some combination of foolish and disillusioned. I can see now that sometimes I was bringing skills that were lacking, and I was correctly perceiving flaws in the way an institution was functioning. But that didn't mean I fit in. In fact, it usually meant the opposite. Fitting in is not actually all it's cracked up to be. It feels good, but it can also blind you. It can seduce you into excusing ways in which our institutions are blind and regressive. This is what is seductive about privilege, and you're leaving law school with a fair amount of that. The more you are benefiting from a system, the less visible its flaws will be to you. That's the very definition of fitting in. The lessons you have been taught about fitting in often are teaching you not to question what is. And you can't be leaving law school without having received a lot of those lessons. Which brings me to the gift of not fitting in. It's precisely those who don't fit in who are most capable of seeing what needs changing. Not fitting in generally keeps them from benefiting from the way things are, so they're not so reluctant to question the status quo. It's almost invariably those who don't fit in, the outsiders, who are able to see the mechanics of injustice, of privilege or oppression, and to discern ways of correcting those problems that no one else can see or that no one else is willing to see. Now, I think it's only fair to warn you that pointing out those things is not a job that pays well. This is not a way to become popular, but it is the surest way the only way to make a meaningful difference in the world. Those who don't fit in, the outsiders, become our lasting heroes. Think of it, the most heroic actions of Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, Mohandas Gandhi, Thurgood Marshall, Temple Grandin, Cesar Chavez, Dolores Huerta, and Minoru Yasui all sprang from the ways in which they did not fit in with the cultures and institutions they affected. They pushed back on accepted wisdom, often at great cost, often against pressure to just fit in. We admire those people mostly or only after they succeed in bringing about change. But while they're doing it, they're resented, sometimes intimidated into silence, bullied, criticized, and threatened. Make no mistake, though, it is precisely the ways they didn't fit in that fueled their insights and their willingness to sacrifice what they did. Looked at in this light, the ways you don't fit are a gift. When you don't fit, when you find yourself on the fringe, look for what your life is trying to teach you. Embrace the edge, because it is the way to the center, the way to living in a manner that is not grasping at the superficial and protecting the surface of things, as Richard Rohr has named. This perspective on not fitting in can help you to see your failures and setbacks in a more accurate light. They are nearly always windows into what is deeply true. Try to meet them with openness rather than frustration. Don't assume there's something wrong with you that needs fixing so that you will fit in better. Don't rage against a system that doesn't see your value. This is easier said than done. I do a lot of that kind of raging, so this message is as much for me as it is for you. You may well do a bit of raging and a fair bit of attempting to conform. But if you learn to see not fitting in as a gift, it may help you to remember to look for a third way, a way in which you honor yourself and what you bring, even when the institutions and systems where you don't fit seem to be insisting that you change or that there isn't a place for you. Working to fit in often means cooperating in a dehumanizing process of erasing yourself and what you can see. Embracing the value of not fitting in may just be what humanizes you, even inside a flawed system that only wants your compliance. I like to call this hustle and flow. And yes, I did arrive at the concept from watching the film about a sex trafficker who wants to be a rapper. I have had a lot of experiences of not fitting in, and they are often quite discouraging and even painful. Some of you have heard me tell the story about a particular painful encounter I had with another judge early in my judicial career, in which he responded to my request for mentoring by proceeding to tell me in great detail how everything about me was wrong, and that if I didn't set about fixing myself, I would irretrievably lose the respect of my colleagues. How's that for not fitting in? That message delivered with authority and confidence, and even as though he were doing me a favor, knocked me flat. At the time that happened, though, I had been in the legal world for a while, so I knew not to react right away, but to sit with the experience and see what it might have to teach me. A couple of weeks later, I saw the film Hustle and Flow, which, as I said, for those of you who haven't seen it, is about a sex trafficker who wants to be a rapper. I don't actually know any sex traffickers, and I am not a particular rap music fan, but I quickly became very absorbed in the story. And about 3/4 of the way in, the sex trafficker commits a crime besides being a sex trafficker and lands in prison. There's no doubt that he's guilty. You watched him commit the crime, and The remainder of the film included a lot of scenes of him in prison. And during those scenes, I had an epiphany. My contributions to the judiciary are not likely to involve success in all the ways defined for me by my colleague who asserted that everything about me was wrong. The criteria for success by which he assessed my suitability would never be the best way to measure my achievements. But my job does involve listening to the stories of people like the sex trafficker in Hustle and Flow. And I recovered the sense that the most important gifts I bring to that work have to do with being the kind of person who can listen to the story of a marginalized and even distasteful person, a story that everyone thinks they already know, and to remain deeply engaged and watchful for what I may be called upon to do in response to that story. That realization helped me to stand on my feet again and to be ready for the next realization. Ignoring what the helpful senior judge told me was not a good option. I would be doing so at my peril. He had just imparted the criteria by which he, at least, would judge me. Indeed, was judging me, and he was by no means marginalized in the system I was in. It was hard to hear, but it was useful information. It communicated that I indeed did need to make some changes to my approach to my work in order to succeed well enough that I could attain and maintain some credibility and be effective. It was also incomplete information. It didn't tell me how I could be my best self as a judge, how to preserve the parts of me that were deeply needed. The ways in which I don't fit are clues to that. In fact, they are part of why I am a person who can listen deeply to the story of a marginalized person, a story that everyone thinks they already know, and remain deeply engaged and looking for what action that story demands of me. So whatever adjustments I made in order to better fit into the system I'm in, I also needed to make those adjustments in a way that honored who I am at my core. So that's what I like to call hustle and flow. Hustle is the part where you work hard to succeed on the terms of the system that you're in. You hone your skills as a writer. You wear a suit when others expect that of you. You turn things in on time. You work to understand the point of view of others, even those who don't show you the same courtesy. It has to be done. You can't just refuse to participate in things that seem like flawed exercises to you, any more than you can blow off the deeply flawed exercise of the bar exam and expect to succeed at practicing law. But flow is respecting who you are and continuing to honor the parts of you that don't fit. That also is your job. And often, if you don't do it, no one else will. The ways in which you don't fit are a gift. They are clues to what is missing, to what and who are being left behind. Often when you don't fit, it's because you are marshaling data that the people who are succeeding aren't attempting to account for. Data that the existing criteria for success has failed to include. Most of the injustices in the world involve artificially limiting our data set so that we can feel successful without taking into account the true costs and the true impacts of our actions. Honoring and appreciating the ways in which you don't fit will help you to do that for others. And that is work the world sorely needs. Listen for the voices of people who don't fit and ask why they don't fit. And don't rush to the explanation that there's something wrong with them. The criteria for success are devised by those who have already succeeded on existing terms. Often job descriptions are not written to include qualities that an institution sorely needs, because those who wrote them can't envision what they have never experienced before, and unconsciously resist any suggestion that someone could bring something vital to the organization that no one has offered before, or that has been offered and refused. The ways in which you don't fit are a gift. In honoring you as you graduate, I want to especially honor those gifts of yours and hope that you will find ways to honor them too. Congratulations.
Judge Ortega, thank you so much for your inspiring address. You are an exemplary role model for our students and our community at large. Thank you. Will the candidates for the degrees Doctor of Jurisprudence, Master of Laws, and Master of Legal Studies please prepare for the degree conferral? Mr. President, upon the recommendation of the faculty of the College of Law, I present to you these candidates who have completed the courses for the degrees Doctor of Jurisprudence, Master of Laws, and Master of Legal Studies.
Candidates, please rise. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Willamette University and by the State of Oregon, and upon recommendation of the faculty, it is my pleasure to confer upon you the degrees Doctor of Jurisprudence, Master of Laws, or Master of Legal Studies, with all of the rights, duties, and privileges thereto appertaining. As evidence thereof, you will receive the diploma of graduation bearing the seal of the university and the signatures of the proper officers of the corporation. Congratulations, graduates. You may be seated.
Thank you, President Thorsett. Before proceeding to the presentation of diplomas and hoods, I wanted to pause just briefly to recognize Professor Kelly Gamble as the College of Law's Faculty Member of the Year. As voted on by the College of Law graduating class, the award is given to the faculty member whose teaching has had a significant impact on the class. Professor Gamble, on behalf of the class of 2022, let me thank you for your many contributions to our institution and for the lasting impression you've left with our graduates. Our institution is truly fortunate to benefit from your leadership. What do you think, class of 22? You ready? We're now ready to proceed to the presentation of diplomas and hoods. Since the Middle Ages, the hooding has symbolized the awarding of a graduate degree. As the names of each JD graduate are announced, please note that 23 of these names are followed by the Latin words summa cum laude, magna cum laude, or cum laude. These words indicate the students who graduate with honors, specifically those students whose academic performance during their 3 years of law school ranked them at the top of their class. According to academic tradition, these students wear gold, silver, or white cords, respectively. We also proudly honor our veteran students who wear red, white, and blue cords. Assistant Professor of Legal Writing Kelly Gamble and Distinguished Jurist in Residence Justice Jack Landau will be presenting the graduates. These professors have been chosen by the students for this purpose. The class co-valedictorians, Megan Meyer and Derek Olson, were jointly awarded the Aristian Simeon Simeonides Award for Outstanding Academic Achievement and will begin our presentation of diplomas and hoods, followed by the 3 class officers elected by the students. Kyle Sessions, Class President, Olivia Lofton, Class Vice President, and Emily Henderson, Class Secretary and Treasurer.
Megan Elizabeth Meyer, Aristian Simonides Award, valedictorian, and summa cum laude. Derek Olson, Aristian Simonides Award, valedictorian, and summa cum laude. Kyle W. Sessions, cum laude. Olivia M. Lofton, magna cum laude. Emily M. Henderson. Khalid W. Ali. Tyler Scott Ashby. Dante Barker. Haley Ann Bell, magna cum laude. Eric T. Berglund. Allison Rebecca Bach. Jason Edward Bowman, cum laude. Mackenzie Margaret Brooks. Whitney T. Carter. Jessica Ann Charles. Alden H. Chatfield. Rehan Chaudhry. Paige Churs. Shannon L. Clausen. Timothy Allen Wenzel Comstock, cum laude. Tricia A. Conlon, magna cum laude.
Olivia Alexis Corrigan. Cum laude. Emma Noel Crispin. Nicholas C. Culp. Lauren W. Dietz. Brian Delgado. Jacqueline de Villeneuve. Sophie Corden Dobson. Emma R. Durbin. Heather Elise Enderly. Darius Faharzadeh. Michael A. Flickner. Tyler Keith Folkman. Hannah Marie Fulweiler. Nathan E. Garrettson, cum laude. Myra Ajelin Gonzalez. Ricardo H. Granados. Kathleen Lynette Gregory. Robert Christopher Hansler, summa cum laude. Andrew James Hendry. Alec Matthew Hess. Rebecca Hillstrom, magna cum laude. Veronique Hodgkinson. Grace Lauren Hoffa. Abby Marie Hogan, cum laude. Larry D. Howard.
Kelsey Elise Huber. Christopher H. Ishihara, summa cum laude. Randall K. Johnson, cum laude. Julian Paris Cantor. Dina Lovenstein, magna cum laude. James Michael McDonald. Jesse J. Maeda, cum laude. Michaela M. Mariganis. Sergio Amancio Martinez, Jr. Chase Victoria Morris, cum laude. Rorty Johnson Maurer. Amandeep Multani. Ryan P. Nolan. Christopher T. Noneman, magna cum laude. Kevin J. F. O'Rourke. Catherine E. Pace. Carmen Carol Pacheco. Pablo Pac. Alexandria Peterson. Garrett Ramsey. Benjamin A. Reese. Chelsea Paige Sabella. Aline Sanchez, magna cum laude. Jane Margaret Salind.
Michael T. Sewell. Matthew Thomas Shea, cum laude. Casey Nicole Shook. Rebecca Nicole Shumar. Stephen Todd Shumway. Sydney Lynn Roberts Skidmore. Scott Suit. Katie C. Sullivan. Gabriel William Taylor, magna cum laude. Chloe Thompson. Robert James Thrall. Samantha Toda. Jacob C. Vella. Yiwen Wang. Charles R. Watson. Shelby Webb. Ian M. Wilborn. Amelia Louise Zudima. Master of Laws degrees. Fatma Al-Matrudi. Master of Legal Studies, Jonathan David Kirk.
Friends and family, I present to you the Willamette University College of Law class of 2022. Good afternoon, and congratulations to our College of Law graduates and to your families. I am pleased to share in a day of recognition for your own academic achievement, together in person, in community with friends, family, fellow students, and faculty. I stood before you a short 3 years ago now, on Orientation Day, welcoming you into the College of Law. You sat then in anticipation of what lay ahead, leading you to this day when you proudly hold in your hands the diploma of a College of Law graduate. Here you are, done with law school, ready to join the family of Willamette alumni and to follow in the footsteps of the college's many distinguished alumni. At Willamette, our mission is to prepare graduates to turn knowledge into action. Today, we honor what you have learned and accomplished here at the College of Law, while also celebrating what you will achieve out in the world as Willamette alumni. We are the oldest law school in the Pacific Northwest, And we often speak here of legacy, of being ever mindful of your responsibility to those who came before you and those who will follow. The importance of how we live our lives and the way that the decisions that we make today will shape the world that we leave to generations to come. This notion of legacy makes it impossible to draw a line between personal and professional ethics. Your conduct as lawyers and leaders must be thoughtful and disciplined, just as it must reflect the values of the broad-minded and well-educated people that you are. The rule of law serves a thriving and vibrant society, and the career path you have chosen is one that seeks the truth. To practice law is a privilege. Use it wisely and with a steady hand. A law degree can take you many places. Remain open to its possibilities, but commit to things that will endure beyond your own lives. The eternal values of truth, justice, mercy, kindness, and goodwill among people. Dedicate your lives to building something that will outlast you. Know that we have confidence in you. This is a time of remarkable opportunity. As the world returns to its normal practices after extended periods of social distancing, with the fragility of its economic and social support structures laid bare, you have a chance to help build a society that leaves no one alone and that protects the most vulnerable among us. Know that you will always be part of this university. Please stay in touch with one another, reach out to alumni for support, and be there to support future students when you can. Regardless of where you decide to employ your talents, I look forward with great anticipation to hear about the ways that you will carry on the proud legacy of this great institution in the years to come. But for now, class of 2022, let me bestow upon you the traditional Willamette President's Blessing. When you depart from this commonwealth of learning, may your lives bring you some work of noble note. May you find meaning in your commitment to others, and may your memories of Willamette University be undying. Good luck and best wishes to you all, Willamette College of Law class of 2022.
Thank you, President Thorson. I'm really just here to ask for one more time before the benediction. Let's give it up for the class of 22.
Wow. Now go forth from this tent in joy and peace, with a word of thanks for each other, for enlivening your days and sustaining your nights in community, here and beyond. May your Latin phrases like habeas corpus, pro tem, quid pro quo, also include non nobis salum nati sumas, perhaps even pro bono. May meaningful cases and billable hours be plentiful. May your work-life balance exist. May the work that you choose align well with your souls, and your actions be thoughtful and wise. And may the holy source of life itself, who brings wisdom, justice, and mercy, be with each of you this day and forevermore. Amen, Amen, and so it shall be. Ashe.